Celeste,
Yes.
we have been featured in an article.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Glix, what is going on?
We are receiving a signal from a new area on the planet Geekery.
All right, let's see what the planet has for us today.
Opening forms in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, devoted geeks, and welcome to ComTalk, the podcast extension of Geek Devotions, a show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know that you are loved. This is episode 154. I'm Dallas, and with me is the beautiful
Celeste.
How you doing, babe?
I'm good.
Good. So today on ComTalk, we're going to be talking about the fact that we got featured in an article recently,
Yeah.
and kind of talk about that experience and all that good stuff. Celeste, why don't you tell people what happened?
So you were contacted specifically by a Miss Deanne Alford.
Yeah,
Very kind lady.
very kind.
We had some interactions with her and some connections with her that were a little strange.
She legitimately freaked out.
They were. It was definitely a God thing.
Yeah.
Like, she graduated from the same high school that Dallas graduated from.
She was the first graduate of my high school.
Was she the first one, or was she the first graduating class?
She was the first person to walk across the
'cause
stage.
Alford's not her married name. Yeah, that's pretty impressive,
Right?
She's from our area, obviously. So coming to interview us was kind of a chance to come home and see some friends and family.
It was funny because her words were like, "I never thought I'd write a positive story about Shreveport."
Which is sad.
Yeah, because there's so many great things happening in Shreveport.
There are that we may talk bad about Shreveport on with people individually and
In jest.
in streams, but there are some really cool things happening.
There's some fantastic stuff. We have the hub downtown, which is feeding people and helping to really provide dignity for homeless individuals and rebuild them. We have Purchase, which is rescuing women off the streets and helping them get back and be functional in society.
Also, within Purchased, they have a program where the ladies can work, and if they work for a certain length of time with Purchased, all of their previous criminal record is gone, then they have legitimate work experience.
We have the Shreveport Volunteer Network, which is literally started off with some dudes with chainsaws cleaning the road.
I mean, leave it to a couple of Louisianans to go, well, this needs to happen.
And get it done. Like the city, like we're off topic, but a couple years ago during the bad ice storm, our city was literally shut down. People were worried because there were gas trucks that were stuck on the side of the road because they couldn't get to the gas stations and they couldn't get to certain things done. And these guys went out, borrowed some bobcats, and just cleared the road.
From some local farmers. And the farmers, when they were asked, they were like, well, we're not using them.
Yeah.
Where do you want us?
And so we have the Shreveport Volunteer Network. We have several programs in town. They're doing some fantastic stuff. So,
And
like
we have things like GeekCon. And
Yeah.
we have a lot of cool things that happen here.
Absolutely. So to hear because she hasn't been in Shreveport for years, and I get that. But so there are all these weird connections with Deanne.
Yes.
And so, lovely lady. Enjoy chatting with her.
She talks very fast.
She talks very fast.
Very
I'm like,
fast.
are you sure you're from Shreveport?
Because you do not talk like Shreveport, which ironically, Louisiana was, in a study, speaks the slowest.
You know what's funny though?
What?
Another weird connection for her and I. People question me because I talk too fast.
You do talk fast.
So that's just a weird connection with her. Anyways, that being said,
a lot of different connections.
so Deanne reached out to us.
And she said that somehow someone in the Assemblies of God main office went, hey, there's an Assemblies of God pastor and he's doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
For those of you who didn't know, Dallas is a licensed Assembly of God pastor.
I am.
And eventually I will be as well.
Heck yes.
So, and so she called us up and was like, hey, you're doing a thing? And we're like, how did you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is not the circles that normally know about our stuff.
Exactly. Like don't get us wrong. Like there are certain people in the fellowship who know about
Absolutely.
us, who kind of cheer us on, but it's not like Geek Devotions is not a denominational specific thing.
Right.
And it's not, just being honest, what we do isn't typically looked upon as something you just look to in Pentecostal circles,
Right.
in charismatic circles.
We're non-traditional when it comes to Geek devotions.
And so to hear that there were people in the main office that were like, hey, let's check this thing out, it kind of surprised us.
Yeah, kind of tripped us out just a little bit. I do vaguely, was that the day that you were like, hey, I have something to tell you?
Yes.
And then you gave me a heart attack because I was thinking all the bad things
Right.
of what can he not tell me in a text?
It was a lot to say in a text.
It was a lot to say in a text, but for everyone out there, your friends who tend to be a little more anxious, when you have something more than a text can handle to tell them, go, hey, we need to talk later. It's good.
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
You didn't say it was a good thing either.
I said it wasn't a bad thing.
No, not a bad thing and a good thing are different. And there was some time delay in between the hey, we need to talk,
Right.
and the it's not a bad thing.
Right.
There was some time delay.
Consider this payback for when I first told you a decade ago, hey, I think I like you. I would like to date you. And then you didn't respond to my message for an hour.
This is willful withholding information, not, dear Lord, my brain just stopped. But this is not something for a podcast. This is not a discussion that needs to be recorded.
Welcome to Geek Devotions, guys. So anyways.
But Deanne's a very kind lady. She's written a book that might, maybe, possibly be on the website later. It'll depend on once I read it if I think it's a good one for our audiences. And so, yeah, it was interesting. I think that the thing she said the most during the interview is, wow, this is a lot. And we're like, yeah, we know. Let us tell you about 5 other things we do.
Yeah. So we invited her over, and we fed her.
We fed her.
Which she really enjoyed what Celeste made.
Gotta be a good Southern host and feed somebody. Hello, you're hungry.
Right. And then I think we talked for like, hour and a half, 2 hours.
She was at the house for a whole afternoon.
Yeah. And just chatting, and you nailed it. Like, she said this, like, wow, this is a lot. And I think the problem was she was coming in thinking that we were going to be something like God Squad Church.
Yes.
Which was also started by an Assemblies of God pastor that is very focused. It's a church that's online, devoted to gamers. And so I think she thought that was going to be the hook for her.
Yeah.
But when she realized that we do so much.
And we're not a church.
Yeah. I mean,
Geek Devotions is not your church.
Yeah, no. It's not. If you're treating us like your church, please stop.
Please.
Go find a church.
Go find a body.
So we're a great community. We have great friends, and
absolutely.
we can be a great addition to your spiritual walk with God.
Absolutely.
But I'm not your pastor unless you're part of the Healing Place.
Yeah, no.
And even then, I'm just one of the pastors on staff.
Yeah.
So, and that has nothing to do with Geek Devotions. Anyways,
Yeah.
But she was just surprised by, the devotions, the 5 or 6 podcasts we have going on, the articles that we write, the devotions that are written out on our website by our team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was just in awe.
Yeah.
Of everything. And it was funny because she's trying to get her head wrapped around things, and we sent her cause she needed a secondary source to comment on us.
Yeah.
And so we sent her over to our buddy
Pastor Dustin,
and who's doing some amazing stuff himself.
He really is.
And so she met with him, and then she found out about Safe Streamers, which is a whole network of streamers who do family friendly, safe content for kids to watch. And so she's like, I'm going to do this first and then come back to you guys.
We're like, okay,
cool.
Fun stuff. I really hope that at some point she does an article on Pastor Dustin.
Yeah.
Because he's a good guy.
Because she did an article. It's got like, he was highlighting it, but it was a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah. There's a lot of other people too.
Yeah.
She interviewed Sinas Preya in that one as well.
She did. Love that guy. He's such a cool guy. But, so yeah, that was our experience with her. And if you guys want to read the article, I made it's on the Assemblies of God website. So if you type in Assembly of God News, in your Google search. It'll be the first thing that pops up. The article is called "Beloved Are the Geeks."
Yes.
And on our website, geekdevotionals.com, I did an article called "A Response to Beloved Are the Geeks."
Yes.
Because I wanted to add some stuff. Deanne only had $800 words to work with. I hope she got paid $800.
I don't know how much an article goes for.
I don't know.
How much does the AG pay for an article, and do they need writers?
Right. So, but anyways, it was supposed to be an 800-word article. So I wanted to come back and say some things we're going to say on the second half of our break. But if you go to our website, it's called "Response to Beloved Are the Geeks," and there's a link to her article specifically if you guys want to check that out. But it was legitimately an honor. It is one of those things where sometimes doing what we do, it feels like we're not seen.
Yeah.
Not that we're doing this to be seen. Not that we're doing this because we want people to like give us accolades and pat us on our back, but to be encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And which that's kind of the cool thing I want to talk about real quick is the response to her article.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do that and then kind of the additional stuff on the back end of the break real quick.
Okay.
But before we do that, I do want to say, Deanne, if you're listening to this, which I'm going to text it to you, so hopefully you do listen to this all the way through. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out here, interview us, say the very kind words you said. And thank you to the National Assemblies of God, to I don't know if anybody in leadership would ever hear this podcast, Doug Clay, the guy in charge of the Assemblies of God. Hey, sir. Hey, thanks for having a team that allowed us to do this.
Good job.
Good chat. Anyways.
That's a job, not chat.
All right. Well, we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to kind of talk about the response because we've already got some response from the article.
Yeah.
And then just some stuff we want to add to it. Some of the stuff we talked about in my version of the article on our website. So that being said, let's jump into a quick break.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
All right, and we are back. I want to encourage you guys, please check out Culture Box. It is a network that we're part of, and just some fantastic guys that do some stuff. I know that most active we have Drew and Jacob from the Cellcast, Francisco and Paul from Retro Rewind Podcast. I'm waiting for our dude Nathan James Norman to kick back in with the Untold podcast.
That will probably happen once baby sleeps through the night.
Probably. So, but anyways, Celeste, we had some interesting conversations this past week, some folks.
Oh yeah, we did.
There were a few messages that came in from folks. Why don't you tell them about the first one that came in?
So the article went live while we were at church.
On Wednesday night.
On a Wednesday night. We were doing a fellowship, and so it was hey, here's the article. Oh, cool. Yay. We're doing stuff. So we didn't really have a lot of time at that point to be like, hey, we're in an article. And so we got a response from the article by email as we're driving home.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this is super quick. Like, we just found out about this maybe an hour ago, 2 hours ago. And we already have an email response, and it was a pastor couple out in California, I believe.
No, they were in the DFW area.
DFW. Oh, that's right. They're in the DFW area.
Yeah.
Why did I put them in Cali?
Because the other person.
Oh, yeah, that's it. But they're in the DFW area. They're nearby, and they had us in tears in the car. Like, I'm reading this, and I'm choking up because the line that got me is they said something about thank you for letting us know there was a place to belong.
Yeah.
And we went, ah! Like, just imagine like whatever cartoon character you can.
Right.
With tears sprouting out the side. And
I'm driving.
You're driving. We're
I'm
trying to not die.
I'm making the ugly face going, okay.
You were definitely looking like Matt. But Matt is a friend of ours who has a face when he cries, and it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it was almost a confirmation of, this is why we do this.
Yeah.
We don't do this to be recognized. We don't do this to be famous. We don't, honestly, being famous is like one of my nightmares. I don't want to be famous, but we do this so that people know that God loves them.
Exactly.
And that God loves them just how they are.
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to like the things everybody else likes for God to love you. He has created you in such a unique way, because there are people who are also unique who need to hear from you, not the cookie cutter. What is it? Curvin says carbon copy.
Yeah.
Don't be a carbon copy.
Of a carbon copy. Yeah, it was, we've had a couple of times throughout Geek Devotions where we've had confirmation moments like that.
Yeah, we have.
The first time was, we're probably a year and a half into it, maybe a year into it. And I know I was starting to go, man, is anything happening with this channel? Mm-hmm. And then we got a random comment from an agnostic woman in the United Kingdom who had stumbled upon our YouTube channel and was just, it wasn't that she converted to Christianity watching our stuff, but it caught her attention and she respected and appreciated that we opened the door for a voice to be speaking to her life.
And we were a respectful voice.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate the people who are passionate for God, but sometimes it takes discernment to know when and where to use that passion.
Passion and zeal, but with wisdom. Yeah.
And I feel like she had only been around people who had passion and zeal,
but no wisdom. So, but this couple that reached out to us, like it really touched us, and great couple. They've done they were part of Chi Alpha, which is a college ministry. They've been to Japan, the ministry. Kind of jealous, not gonna lie.
Oh, I'm like, dang, I didn't know Chi Alpha was in Japan.
Oh yeah,
you want to do this trip?
If anybody would like to fly us out to Japan and do some ministry with you, let us know.
We will do ministry, and then we will go to a cat cafe, and Celeste will die. I'll just be in the corner itching and crying. It's so cute.
So that was one interaction. We got a couple other messages from really great people.
Yeah.
But we had a really interesting interaction also recently. Just yesterday, I had a pastor reach out to me randomly.
Oh, that was yesterday.
Lead pastor. And he's like, hey, like to chat. I'm like, okay, cool. So I called him up, and he is a church planner out in California. And he is in a place he's doing ministry in a very dark place, a very oppressed place.
Yeah.
And he's wanting to use geekdom to reach people, basically.
Which in the environment he's in, that's smart.
Oh yeah. And it's just he was surprised to hear that we were AG. He was surprised to see the AG putting a light on this space, because it's so traditionally not looked upon in a positive way.
Yeah.
And he was encouraged by it. And so I spent a good probably 45 minutes, hour chatting with the guy, encouraging him, encouraging each other, prayed for each other.
He's joined our Discord.
He's joined our Discord channel and doing great stuff. He's got a vision, do some amazing stuff out there in California, and passionate. And it was just cool to see that we were able to speak life into his ministry. Yeah. And what he's doing, encourage him. And
just had a thought. We need to hook him up with Geeky Guys for God.
Oh, we do, don't we?
Because I don't know if they're in the same area, but they're probably close enough. They could do some collaboration.
Possibly. So, yeah. So we've had some really great feedback already on the article. Yeah. And so, again, thank you, Deanne. Thank you, National Assemblies, or United States Assembly of God. We appreciate you guys. But that being said, there was some stuff we want to add because Deanne just didn't have the space to put in the article.
Right.
Her article mainly focused around the creation of Geek Devotions.
Yes.
But now, granted, Geek Devotions primarily Celeste and I. This is something that we do. This is our ministry. Yes. Yes, you can call us up and book us to come speak at your church, your school engagements, camps, whatever you got. Call us up. We'll work out something for us to make that happen. But we have a team of people who have these are volunteers.
We do not pay them. We wish we could.
Right? But these are volunteers who have said, I believe in the mission of Geek Devotions, of reaching people and letting them know that they're loved and they're cared for. There's a plan and purpose for life, that Jesus loves them. Mm-hmm. And they have volunteered their time. Some of them have volunteered their talent. Mm-hmm. Some of them have volunteered their treasure.
Yep.
To help us do what we do. We have an amazing podcast team.
We do.
Just like at the release of this podcast, literally just hours beforehand, we had another podcast come out with Dave and John doing a Casual Gamers Society.
Yep, talking about tabletop playing.
Exactly. We have Kevin and Branson. They're also part of the podcast team doing different stuff. Yep. Talking about terrible movies, talking about anime, talking about comic books. We have Squid. Yep. Who's part of the We Read Allegedly podcast.
And she brings the critical eye to everything as a writer, as an author herself.
Oh, yeah. We got Michael Minacci.
Who so intelligent.
So intelligent.
So, like, just having a conversation with the guy. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm like, dang, I need to go to school.
And, I mean, he writes these great articles and devotions for us. You have new to the team, Aaron, who just joined up in the team. He's helping John with some of the music stuff that we do. Yeah. Not that we're producing music.
Yeah, the discussions about music.
5 points says me saying that. John just goes, oh, maybe we can make a band. Anyways.
He already is trying to make a band.
And then we got Steve, who's been part of the team for a while, helping out with music conversations and theology conversations. And
general dad jokery.
Dad jokery. He is the archive. Him and Branson. Get them together in a room. And
we really can't get them in a room together because the room will implode into a black hole of dad jokes and awesomeness.
It's a true story.
Because they're both awesome.
They're both amazing guys. And so, thank you to the team. Am I forgetting anybody on the team?
I'm in my head. I'm counting.
I mean, we've had several people who volunteered over the years, help out with different things.
We've definitely had some people. We had our friend LJ, and we had Josh from Baptism Villains, but they have their own ministries.
Yeah.
So it was more of
just a part-time volunteer thing.
I know that we have our friend Caston as a mod on Discord. Helps us out a lot with that.
Oh yeah. So we got a lot of stuff, and then you got our people who volunteer with our streams, about our streams on Twitch, and then on Facebook also. Mm-hmm. And then we just have people who support us just with their friendship, with their prayers, hearing us, talk to us.
People whose voices you will never hear.
Exactly. And they don't want to be heard.
No.
They're there to cheer us on and support us. We have people who support us financially through our Patreon and our just one-time gifts of different things. And again, you may never hear their voice, but they're like, we believe in the ministry and we want to help you guys do what you guys are doing.
When we did our fundraiser to build our computer, that was one of those moments where it was a confirmation for us that this really is something that God has called us to do. Yeah. Because so many people just out of the woodwork were like, we didn't even know you knew we did things.
Exactly.
Like, don't get me wrong, we post on our socials about what we do.
Yeah.
But people that have never interacted with any of those posts, they're like, yeah, we love what you do. We're like, oh.
Thank you.
Thank you. They're like, not my thing, but it's definitely cool. We're like, okay, cool.
Appreciate it. You know, our pastor, Scott Etheridge, he's not in this space. I don't know if he listens to half the stuff that we put out.
Probably not.
But he's cheering us on.
Yeah.
And he talks about us to other people.
Apparently.
We've
been told.
Like, hey, your pastor was telling us. Oh, good.
Oh, what did he say?
So, but there's so many people who have come around us to help us be here. Mm-hmm. And we could try doing what we do on our own, but it would not be the quality and would not be as intricate
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, just since we have had a podcast team, we've gotten more regular with Com Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Before, when it was just Dallas and I, we were not as regular as we would have wanted to be.
Right. Well, it helps because, John was producing a podcast, Branson was producing a podcast, John was posting up memes, shaming us for not putting out a podcast.
I mean, sometimes that's needed.
So, all this stuff. But, yeah, so just thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity to serve you guys, to speak life into you, and to encourage you. So, I think that's all we got.
I think we're good.
Yep. So, speaking of podcasts, we have a lot coming down the pipeline.
We do.
We have the Gundam Watch coming out here in the next week or so. Branson, John, and my sister Demara come together to talk about most Gundam Wing. John and I might be doing a one on the newest Gundam series because they're doing a kind of a mid-season break. What else is there? Working on some bomb stuff for the bomb shelf coming down the pipeline. We really allegedly just dropped an episode.
Yes, there will not be a bonus episode this month, but you will have one for next month.
Exactly. And then, we got devotions, guys, every Friday coming on YouTube. Check that out. Subscribe to the channel, watch it all the way through, like it, interact. Those help us to grow, help us to get the word out.
No idea how much it helps us to have people watch all the way through as far as numbers. Like, even if you're not watching it, just let it play, listen to it, do other things. You don't have to, because I know for some people it's hard to be locked in to a screen.
Yeah.
But,
and it's not the numbers thing, but you watching and listening to it all the way through, what that does, it tells YouTube, hey, this is something worth listening to. And it opens the door for more people to see what we do so that they can be encouraged. They can reach the people who need to know that they're loved, they're cared for, and there's a plan and purpose for their lives. So, well, that's it.
Okay.
Celeste, you want to land the plane?
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Com Talk today. If you have loved this episode, head on over to Apple Podcasts to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It is very much appreciated. So until next time, stay devoted.
Peace and love.